this world, it sure is something. The more closely you analyze the situation in which we exist as a seemingly human being, even though that is what you experience, there's a lot of stuff set up in order to control each and every one of us from the moment we're born until the moment we die. And when I say we die, I just mean when your body stops to function, because it's nothing than an object that you're using, pretty much. At least that's how I look at it these days. My body's just an object that I use. So what am I? Who am I? Who are you? Who are we really? And the more you contemplate the question, well, the more strange everything becomes. The deeper you go into the rabbit hole, the more you realize this space is nothing like we are told what it is, and we are essentially being kept blind to greater truths about ourselves, about our true nature. So throughout the year, I've been jotting down an enormous amount of thoughts in my journal. Like, I don't even know how many pages by now, to be really honest with you, but I've been away for quite some months, I know, almost a year. And it's mostly because I've been writing and really contemplating things and analyzing things about this reality, about myself essentially, that I came to the conclusion that this world, the way it functions, it really is built in such a way as to distract you from yourself. The more you dare to actually analyze yourself and look into how everything functions with your own very being, the more you realize, well, every activity, every event, everything that I'm aware of through the senses is trying to grab my attention away from myself. And by doing that, if we allow that to happen, we actually never really figure out deeper truths about ourselves that can actually help us outgrow and deal with the suffering and negativity and chaos that will always be in this place out here. Things are going bad, and then they're becoming good, then they're becoming terrible, and then they're becoming great. It's just all over the place. There's no stability in this world. And as long as we assume that we're just a human, that we actually see ourselves as a human being, then we obey all these chaotic events as if they're affecting us personally, when they are not. On a deep spiritual level, they're not actually hitting what you really are, which is an infinite consciousness, eternal spirit. That's your true nature, but it's completely hidden from view and buried underneath layers and layers of programming. So one thing I jotted down in my journal is the following that I wanted to share with you, and then you can think about this for yourself in your own way and do with it what you want. So I wrote down, we have the human body, then we have the mind, and we have spirit. The realization is that we must go beyond our body and mind, straight into the nature of who we are as infinite spirit. Now, what does it mean if we do it? Because after all, if we just analyze this right now for yourself, you can do this. This is very easy, actually, and that's so strange as well. Studying yourself is very easy, but for some reason we're not in the habit of doing it at all, and most people never do it until they die. They never spend any second considering any of this. Because the body is built, it's a genetic system. Yeah, some people call it like a computer. It's very comparable to a computer, the human body, and how it functions with electrical signals to the nervous system, the brain being like the CPU in a computer system, like a central processing unit. It processes the information that we receive through the five senses. That's what the brain does for us in the body. So basically, if you study yourself, you realize the body is built to send out certain signals for survival, for example. And this can be experienced as hunger. This signal then triggers the mind to consider the idea of food, to seek it out, to worry over it, to become restless if it doesn't get any. And if it goes long enough, well, it becomes more and more annoying, and it's basically grabbing your attention, pulling it in that direction. But as infinite spirit, your true nature, you will constantly be aware of this phenomena. You are simply aware of it, and then if you realize this is not part of who I actually am, this is part of the body itself, you can then sort of take a step back mentally, inwardly, and just be aware of the phenomena of what the body is doing. And then as you're aware of it as your infinite self, you can then deal with it more calmly, so you don't panic. And even if terrible things happen to the body, it's just something that I use. It's a vessel. Again, a temporary biological computer that is helping us to function in this dimension that we're currently in, this planet that we're currently on. But it's not the only side to us. It's like the most minuscule thing, and it's going to end in the grave for the body. Now, if we are not aware of it from our true nature spirit, then the body and mind obsessions start to control what we do, how we do things, and it can become very chaotic very quickly. See, the mind, this is the second part. You have your body, and then you have the mind. And the mind is programmed from birth by our parents, teachers, peers, and society at large to think in certain ways and to follow certain rules, or else we become anxious and worried over what others think of us or how they will treat us. This again is not living from the awareness as infinite spirit that is simply observing the phenomena and can calmly deal with them, since from that point of view it knows that nothing physically can ever hurt it. It's the mind that worries over its physical survival, just like the body does in its own way internally, through genetics, through how it's built. Now, the infinite spirit is awareness. So when I say infinite spirit, I'm talking about you, about your true self, your true nature. So these words, like, it might seem like I'm talking about something else or someone else, some other being, but I'm actually talking to the real you. When I use the word infinite spirit, that's you. Everything else is labels. If you introduce yourself to another person, you say your name, it's a label. If in this crazy world of us with all these enormous amount of genders, apparently by now, it is what it is, I guess. But then people might ask your pronouns. It's like, yeah, it's another label. Then ask your age, you give a number. Number is another aspect of the label of your human self. You see, the body is the biological computer that you use in order to interact with this material world. But then you're programmed to see that as your real self and as the only thing that is real about you. And then the labels, you never question them, you see them as yourself. So that would mean you see your identity as who you are, but that's just what you're using right now in this realm. You, the infinite spirit, is awareness. So you're simply aware of these labels, of these phenomena. If you can get back to that, you can actually overcome the struggle of it trying to pull you somewhere where you're not meant to be, in this illusion of the body and of the names and label world. So the infinite spirit, you, is awareness, and through intent it can move its awareness into whatever direction it wants without limitation. So the best thing to do is to apply your true power of awareness by being aware of the phenomena of body and mind, but having the attention always to remain true to your real nature, your heart, that lies beyond these two things that otherwise will fight over your attention. Can you see? They're trying to get your attention away from yourself, from your inner knowing of all things. Now, where do you actually start? Because this is another part of the process, is that you have to recognize the triggers that are occurring. So there are a lot of triggers coming from both the body, which is genetically programmed, and mind, which is mentally programmed, that will fight for your attention. And then the trick remains to be aware of these triggers as they show up and how they are trying to grab your attention. You have to be aware of when it happens, because if you do, then you can actually decide not to do it anymore. But if you're not aware of this, well, that moment you get lost in the drama of things. It's the same moment you lose sight of your true nature as infinite spirit, infinite awareness. So what has happened to humanity at large, with me, with you, with everyone, because this happens to all of us. However, we can limit it, we can reverse the process, but if we don't, what happens is that People become completely lost in the story, in the drama of physicality. So whatever happens to the body, they take it super serious. You know, if it's sick and it's dying, then they think they are going to die. But no, you're infinite spirit. It's just your body that's dying. So actually, from that angle, you don't really have to worry about it. And you know this body is going to run its course and then it's going to shut down. It ceases to function, which is death. But infinite spirit awareness, just go on to another dimension, another realm, which is infinite actually. Infinite amounts of realms and realities to explore for all of eternity. But if you don't pay attention to this, the triggers of the body, it can be through food or other things, something painful, something nagging you physically from the body again, keeps trying to grab your attention. Do you notice? What is it trying to grab? It's trying to grab your infinite self, to get it to focus on something here in this reality. And by doing that, it makes you forget your actual nature as infinite awareness. But if you keep reminding yourself of the truth that you are infinite awareness, infinite spirit first, and then came the body and mind, then you can at least deal with these phenomena more calmly and wisely. When the triggers arise for food, you don't have to panic like, oh my god, I'm gonna starve to death now, I'm hungry. Because it's as crazy as it sounds, some people really act like that. It's usually people with an addiction to food. They might literally say, if I don't eat, I die. It's like, well, not really. You have to be there have to be certain things that will make you die if you don't eat. But if you're addicted to food, usually you're very overweight. So there's a lot of time you can spend without food. Water is a different thing, but food itself, but the thing is, they have the trigger for food and then they get lost in the drama of the trigger. They forget all about the true nature of themselves. They can calmly and wisely decide, I'm not going to go along with this trigger. It's not really important right now. And then mentally you realize I'm programmed to see myself as a human being, as a certain gender, age, this and that. All these labels, they're trying to get my attention away from myself, from my infinite state of being. Now another aspect, and the third one I wrote down, is that the best way to notice if you get caught up in the drama of the genetic body program or mind mental program is based on the emotional state that occurs within you. So if you go along with either the body or mental programs of this material world, then you might notice more and more negative emotional states within yourself, and this then drags you down more and more into negative patterns and disturbs the overall experience of your human journey. So life might start to feel bleak and perhaps even terrible in a way. We have all had these moments where stuff just happens and we feel terrible and annoyed and bad, whatever. But it's actually just because we're getting dragged into the drama that is confronting us through either the body or through the mind. And how it's programmed to respond, to react to situations. See, because most of us, we're programmed in a way mentally that if something bad happens, we have to instantly lash out and react in a rather negative way to it. I've done it. You probably have done it in your own way at times. This can take very extreme forms, it can mild forms, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. The fact remains we've been dragged to the drama of this whole place. We've lost sight temporarily of our infinite nature as spirit. Because again, if something terrible happens or something dramatic physically occurs, even in this world right now, all this fear-mongering going on through the news, all this madness, if you keep reminding yourself and remaining aware of your true nature as infinite spirit, you realize I don't really have to be upset over this. This is just the way this place is. It's a chaotic realm. It's fucking crazy out here. It is what it is. This is just the way this world works out here. The best thing I can do is to remain calm at all times. And if I lose my calm, get back to it as fast as you can by remembering who you really are. Infinite spirit having a human experience, going through a human temporary experience, a journey. It's going to be very brief. This journey ends in the grave, and then we call that death. But it just means the body stopped functioning. You, infinite spirit, go on for infinity through other realms. When you go to sleep at night, you already have brief glimpses of that infinity by simply being in other realms. We just brush them off as dreams, but it's actually you already experiencing other realities right then and there. And this opens up to you once the body completely ceases to function, stops holding you in its grasp. Because that's what it's built to do. To keep your attention away from yourself, from knowing yourself as infinite spirit. Instead, it tries to make you feel and think that you're just this limited physical human body, having to be worried and fearful for all this, for what can happen to it. It's like, yeah, well, it's gonna end in the grave anyway, so why even bother with it any longer? Just get back to the knowing of who you really are. So if you remain within your true nature as infinite spirit, simply remaining aware of being awareness itself, not being influenced by the body and mind, then you notice the emotional state remains stable and overall neutral. And that is why you gain access to peace, and at times joy or bliss, you might say, which is a different kind of experience than what the normal human emotions let us feel. Because these states of peace and joy come straight from the heart, the depth of your infinite spirit itself. Now contemplate this and discover it for yourself. See, that's what's important. This world is trying to make you forget. It tries to distract you from knowing this, what I just shared with you. But if you feel any negativity within yourself, if you worry, if you have trouble with the events going on in the world, it's because you have gotten caught up in the drama of this place. Get back to who you are, infinite spirit. Then you can deal with the world and its chaos more effectively in a calm manner. And you get guided by the wisdom from your own heart, which is infinite. The heart is spirit. You are spirit. You're an infinite being, but you have been programmed to forget it. That's the reality of the situation. Once we understand this and accept, okay, this is what's happened, and this is what keeps happening out here, I'm no longer going along with that. I'm going to change it. I'm going to do things for myself. I'm going to think for myself from my own unique point of view as an aspect of infinite spirit. Because that's what we all are. We're all individual aspects of infinite spirit currently experiencing a human journey. And then when the journey is over, we go back to our true home of infinity. However, we can't explore that infinity unless we already grasp this before we die. Otherwise, if the body ceases to function, you're still ignorant about it. Well, this is where the reincarnation and all that stuff comes from. That you go back to another human life eventually, because you just didn't grasp that you are infinite spirit that is free to explore all whatever you want throughout infinity. There are no clear human words for this truth other than to start discovering it for yourself in your own mysterious ways. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, and there's like so much that I've jotted down anyway, but I'll just share these thoughts here and there. Maybe it saves someone from their own demise. Because this world surely isn't what it seems it is. It's a very dark and brutal place that has been purposely set up in that way to make you forget who you really are. Infinite spirit, having a human temporary journey. So you don't have to take the drama serious at all. But it wants you to take it serious, so you keep forgetting yourself, losing sight of your true nature.